Hey guys, welcome back to Buy This Not That, and today I think I've actually found a guitar that rivals the specs and value of an Ibanez Genesis RG550. Now only one of these two guitars can be victorious, so make sure you stick around to the end to find out which one gives you more metal for your money. Alright, this is the axe. Let's go! Alright, welcome back to The Axe. For those of you that are new, my name is Nick. Today we're pitting two Super Strat guitars from known metal brands against each other to basically see which one's better and so you don't get ripped off. The stock features and overall look of these bad boys are just insane, and I don't know how we're going to choose one out of the two. It's just going to be difficult. We are talking about the Schecter Reaper-6 FR versus the Ibanez Genesis RG550. These guitars both come in at about $999 and are really a 6-string version of a shredder's dream. Per usual, we take a look at a few crucial things to include construction, hardware, electronics, tremolo, and the overall appearance. Alright, so let's get right into construction, my dudes. Both of these guitars are 24 frets and on a 25.5-inch scale. Now looking at the Schecter Reaper-6 FR, this guitar is actually made out of swamp ash, but if you take a look from the top, you can obviously tell this thing has a veneer, which is burl. This wood combination really gives the Schecter kind of an earthy or, maybe even like galactic kind of feel, which we'll get into later. Now the neck construction is something that we don't really see too often. It's a set neck, which means that the neck and the body are joined with a really tight joint, sometimes like a dovetail joint, and glued into place. Think of a Gibson Les Paul or like an SG. Those are various examples of set necks. Speaking of neck, the Schecter's neck is actually a 5-piece maple and walnut neck with carbon reinforcement rods within it. Flip this guitar over and you can see the gorgeous 5-piece construction on the back of the neck, and it also has that sanded finish, which is really smooth and comfortable. The shape of the neck is what Schecter calls an ultra-thin C, but historically, we all know that Schecter is known to have a little bit more of a chunky and bulky neck, so just keep that in consideration when you're looking at this guitar. Now taking a look at the heel of the Schecter, it looks really good and looks like you have a lot of good access to the higher frets. Not as much as you would with a neck-through guitar, but it still looks really comfortable. This bad boy comes with 24 extra jumbo frets on an ebony fretboard that has a 14-inch radius all the way through. 14 inches is a little bit more of a rounded fretboard when you compare it to traditional shredder guitars like Jackson's or Ibanez. Now looking at the headstock, this guitar looks to be like it doesn't have a scarf joint. The wood goes all the way through, and then the truss rod adjustment is found classically right above the nut. Now something I like to cover in these videos is where these guitars are made. These guitars are made in Indonesia. Now moving on to the Ibanez Genesis RG550 in regards to its construction, it is a basswood body all the way through, no veneer. Now this is a bolt-on neck construction guitar, which is pretty standard for an RG guitar, but the neck is actually a 5-piece maple walnut neck, a lot like the Schecter, and it has that sanded smooth finish on the back. Now the neck profile and design is the Ibanez coveted Super Wizard neck, meaning that this neck is really thin and built with the shredder in mind. Now moving down to the heel, being that this is a bolt-on guitar, the heel is a little bit chunky on this one. Ibanez does provide a little relief on this guitar by kind of angling the heel and giving a little cutaway back there, but when I play this guitar, sometimes I do have to wrap around my thumb to actually get to the high frets. But that's something you just kind of learn to deal with over time. Speaking of frets, we have 24 jumbo frets on a maple fretboard and a 17-inch radius all the way through. That 17-inch radius is pretty flat, and it aids in the overall, I guess you could say, thinness of the Super Wizard neck design. Similar to the Schecter, the Ibanez RG550 has no scarf joint, and the truss rod adjustment is found right above the nut. Now, a significant benefit to the RG550 is that this is a guitar made in Japan, and it's not one of Ibanez Prestige or J Custom models. It's actually pretty baffling that they've been able to sell this guitar at this price for so long. All right, now it's time to move on to hardware. So starting at the top with the Schecter Reaper-6 FR, there are Schecter branded non-locking die-cast tuners in black. It has a matching R3 style Floyd Rose locking nut with silver hardware that we will get to in just a few minutes. Now coming down to the body of the guitar, look at the pickups. They are direct mounted, which no pickup rings to be found, so added bonus to Schecter. We have two dome style metal knobs with metal knurling on the side. And if you look at the volume knob, it is actually situated a little bit more to the rear of the guitar in relation to the bridge pickup. This is an added benefit if you're someone like me that tends to accidentally turn the volume down when you jam. And lastly, this has a 3-way black selector switch. And does this come with a case? Nope, sold separately. Boo, Schecter. All right, now starting at the top with the Ibanez RG550, we have Goto branded non-locking tuners, which is, stays true to the overall Japanese theme of this guitar. There's a matching edge locking nut, and then coming down to the body, these pickups are actually pickguard mounted. Now this, in my humble opinion, isn't as ugly as pickup rings, but pickguard mounted pickups, when you change them out, you have to take the whole pickguard off, which can be cumbersome. I've done it several times. So similar to the Schecter, the Ibanez has 2 knobs, a volume and a tone, but the knobs are actually more of a classic look, that dial look, the white and black dial. Now the volume knob is a little bit closer to the bridge pickup, so consider that. And lastly, we have a 5-way black selector switch. And does this bad boy come with a case? No. Ibanez just lists the recommended case on the website. So, I guess with both of these brands, they are the same in regards to cheaping out on the case. All right, moving on to electronics, and I'm really excited because both of these guitars rock manufacturer stock pickups, which are pretty damn good. All right, taking a look at the Schecter, this guitar is outfitted with a pair of Schecter Diamond Decimators. These are high output passive pickups and provide pretty good sound for stock pickups. I've seen a couple videos of these compared to Seymour Duncan Dimebuckers, and if you're getting a pickup anywhere close to something that sounds like that, it's probably a good deal. Furthermore, Schecter outfitted this guitar with push-pull coil split tap capability in the tone knob, which then gives these pickups and this guitar overall versatility. In sum, you'd be getting a pretty phenomenal set of stock pickups in this guitar, and better yet, these are direct mounted pickups, so changing them out would actually be not too hard. Now taking a look at the Ibanez Genesis, this guitar does come with manufacturer branded pickups, but in an HSH design. We have an Ibanez V8 humbucker in the bridge, a single coil S1 in the middle position, and then a V7 humbucker in the neck. All of these pickups are passive and provide high output needed for those metal tones. And let's be real, 80s hair metal vibes. Now a benefit to these pickups is pretty obvious. You have more pickups, so you have actually a 5-way selector switch, meaning that you have different modes and it aids in the versatility of the sound. Overall, a great set of stock pickups, but keep in mind if you want to switch them out, whole pickguard has to come out and you got to mess with the wires that way. All right, moving on to tremolos, which you all know is my favorite segment. Taking a look at the Schecter Reaper-6 FR, this bad boy is outfitted with a Floyd Rose 1500 series. What is a Floyd Rose 1500 series, you might ask? Well, I do a deep dive in this video. I'll put a card at the top and a link in the description. But for time's sake, simply put, the Floyd Rose 1500 series is a Floyd Rose 1000 series with a pop-in tremolo arm and stainless steel hardware. But you got to admit, when you look at this guitar, that stainless steel hardware is pretty awesome, right? Now, Schecter used to claim that this is a hot-rodded version of the Floyd Rose, and I think due to a video that I actually did about this, they took that verbiage down. This tremolo is not an original hot rod Floyd Rose made in Germany, it's a Korean-made trem. Now, it's still a phenomenal trem made with all the same materials and design as the original, so you'd be getting something that's really worth the money in the Schecter Reaper-6 FR. Okay, buckle up, because if you've watched any of my videos, you all know that I am all about the Ibanez stock tremolos. The Ibanez RG550 comes stock with the coveted Edge bridge, which I would argue is Ibanez flagship, or at least one of their flagship tremolos. Now, if you really want an in-depth look at the Ibanez Edge, I did this video, I'll put a card at the top. I really go into my personal Edge and give you all the need-to-know information. Now quickly, the Ibanez Edge is actually a Japanese-made tremolo, but it's made by Goto for Ibanez. And also, like the Floyd 1500 series, the Ibanez Edge, and I think all of the Edge variants, have pop-in tremolo arms, which is something that I prefer. It's argued that Ibanez tremolos are the best on the market, so regardless, getting this on a stock guitar is a huge bonus. All right, last but not least, let's take a look at the appearance of these guitars, because we all know the key to playing good is looking good. First off, we have two gorgeous Super Strats that are very worthy of their metal labels. Looking at the Schecter, this thing almost looks like it should be in the Lord of the Rings with the veneer top. I mean, it looks kind of like the Eye of Sauron. Am I wrong? Now, all kidding aside, I really do like how the veneer doesn't cover the whole guitar. It actually leaves that area where you rest your picking arm bare, so you can kind of see the natural wood through the actual gloss finish. Furthermore, it's a burst finish, which actually ties together that black and stainless steel hardware pretty good. I love a guitar that has a two-toned headstock, and with one of those colors being like the natural wood. Schecter really knocked it out of the park with this headstock. Lastly, the fret markers have kind of become a signature of Schecter with the offset dots, but then it's got the 3 dots on the 24th fret, which is a nice touch. Overall, a very dark and sleek and, dare I say, elegant guitar. Great job, Schecter. Okay, moving on to the Ibanez, and what can I say? This has hair metal and even like thrash metal just written all over it. We have the signature Ibanez sharp horns, which actually look pretty lethal. And then the contrast between the bright maple fretboard and the body of the guitar just looks great. Now, a positive to this guitar is that you can get it in an array of different finishes. Just the only thing is, it's kind of hard to track down the white version. You know, if only I knew someone that had one of those. Now, the headstock of the Ibanez is actually pretty killer because you always get a matching headstock that matches the finish of the guitar. And then that headstock shape is just super iconic. It's signature to the Ibanez look. I'm personally not a big fan of the stock dial knobs that you get on the Ibanez RG, but the classic dot inlays on the maple neck is just unrivaled. Okay, we've reached the moment of truth. We have to make a decision on which one of these guitars gives you more metal for your money. This is honestly such a tough decision because, let me be transparent, I have sunk cost bias in the RG, I own one, but then the Schecter really did impress me by the value and features and the specs that come on this guitar. But unfortunately, there can only be one, so drum roll please. I'm going with the Schecter Reaper-6 FR, but as always, hear me out. My decision was largely based on the fact that this has direct mounted pickups, the push-pull coil split capability, and the overall finish in that veneer on the Schecter Reaper-6. To be completely honest, I don't know how this guitar has maintained to be under $1,000 with that look alone. Trust me, it was tough to turn down the Ibanez with the Japanese make and the Edge Tremolo. I mean, seriously, it was tough. But the Floyd Rose 1500 bridge is still a really great bridge, and that stainless steel just looks phenomenal. But that's enough for me. I want to hear from you guys. What would you have picked? And do any of you own these guitars? Let us know in the comments. All right, that's the end of the video, guys. If you like the content, don't forget to subscribe below so you don't miss any videos like this one. All right, later.